Hey, it's Peter Chen making another 500 Zoom video. This session is continuing off where we were last week. On table 2, small blind opens. I'm 3-betting my queens in the big blind. I think I'm going to call this 4-bet. Maybe with kings and ace-king I'll raise to get it in, and some aces, I guess. I'm not super sure what my stack off range is. Like 240 big blinds deep. Once he 4-bets, the king on the flop is just such a great card for him. So he should just be betting big, I guess. I don't think I can call him after he bets big on the turn again. Three betting the small blind against hijack with pocket kings on table 2. And on table 1, opening 5s in early position. On table 2, I think I'm going to bet this flop with my range for a medium size. On table 1, opening king queen. With the kings, I think I can keep betting sometimes. I can either bet or check. On table 1, I bet half pot on the flop. I get a good card to bet big on. I think my hand is strong enough to overbet, but it is kind of close. we're doing a lot of folding. I think I have to fold this 7-2 suited. Going to be defending almost every suited hand, but not the very weakest one. On table 2, I opened ace 10 from early position, got called by the button. Going to check my range on this flop. And fold to about. On table 1, I'm going to open the small blind with ace 8 suited. On table 1, opening the button with ace 10. And on this flop, I'm going to bet really often for a small size. On table 2, I open the button and get the same flop pretty much. Going to be betting really often with a small size. On table 2, I'm going to 3-bet this sometimes and call sometimes. On this flop, you should be always checking to me. I'm going to mostly check back with this hand. And checking back the turn again. I have lots of weaker hands to bet. So I hit the queen on the river. I think it makes sense to bet pretty big. table one, I was going to either call or raise, but now against the 3-bet, I'm folding. On table two, I'm going to call this 2.5x raise blind versus blind with 9-6. And calling the flop as well. On table one, I opened the small blind with ace queen, and I get a flop where I'm mostly checking. On table two, checking back. With the ace queen, checking again. And with the 6, I'm checking too. I don't think I can get called by much worse, and can't make him fold much better. And I think I'm always calling with the ace queen. I have too much showdown value to raise it. On table two, I opened, and I'm going to call this small blind 3-bet with ace 9. I think I can just fold to the half pot bet. On table one, I opened the cutoff with ace king. I could either check or bet this flop. I don't think I have to call this raise. I have a gut shot, but also I have so many hands that are pairs. It does seem really close. I also have the backdoor flush draw, so I will call and hit my straight, and also the backdoor flush draw. I think I should always be betting when I have the hearts. I guess also when I have the ace. Like if I had just the single king, I could probably check back a decent amount of the time. On table two, opening the button with 8-6 suited. On table one, I'm going to 3-bet this Jack 9 suited a lot of the time. So I flop a straight. This flop is one where I'm going to be checking not very often. So I'm just going to keep betting. On table 2, 3-betting jacks from the small blind against early position. On table 1, I'm going to 3-bet king 8 suited, small blind against button. Table 1, opening cutoff with king 8 suited. And table 2, opening with king jack off. On the board with the ace and the 10, I'm going to be checking a lot or betting big. My hand is pretty clearly a better check. And I have a gut shot, but I don't think I'm strong enough to call. Table 2, opening jack 9 suited from the cutoff. And I'm going to call this 3-bet. So he checks. I think I'm going to be betting around half the time. Going to check back this time. If he bets, I'm going to call, and if he checks, I'm going to bet. And now I'm going to put all the money in. Unfortunate result, him having the nut flush. On table 2, I'm going to 3-bet pocket sixes, small blind against button. and opening the button with Jack 6 suited. I think I'm betting pretty often on this flop. My hand is an okay check, but still mostly betting. On table 1, I'm going to 3-bet King 9 cutoff against early position. I'm going to start here by betting small with my whole range. I think I can bet again with my hand sometimes at a pretty low frequency. On table 2, I'm going to mix calling and 3-betting and folding. It's a little bit weak, but I think against this player I can VPip a little more. I think I want to check sometimes and bet sometimes on the flop now. On table 1, I opened hijack with 8s. Going to bet small on the flop, and with my king 7, call the bet on the turn. If he bets again, I'm going to give up on the river. All his bluffs hit a pair. So with these 8s, I have to call. Table 2, calling the big blind against small blind with king jack. The 8s are getting a little closer, but I think I have to call again with the spade. And I'm going to check back this king jack. I want to be a little more polar when I bet. On this turn, I still have a pretty middle strength hand with my king, so I'm going to check back again. Now I think I'm just always calling. On table 1, 3-betting small blind against button with queen 9 suited. And I'm always going to bet this flop for a small size. Opening the button on table 2 with King 10 offsuit. And on this flop, I'm going to be betting pretty often. And folding to this raise. On table 2, opening the small blind with Jack 10. On the flop, I can either bet or check. On table 1, I have a low frequency 3-betting hand. With the Jack 10 now, I'm going to check and call. And I'm going to check call the river as well. On table 1, I do have one of the worst hands I can have. Most of my other 3-bet bluffs hit a 9 or an 8. Yeah, pretty much everything weaker that I have hit a pair, so I'm very low in my range. On table 2 with this 5-4, I can pretty much do anything with it. Now, same thing as the turn, I pretty much just have the nut low, I guess. Don't see a reason not to bet. Going to call the 4-bet with 5-4. This is a really big bet. I don't think he's ever supposed to bet this big. I think I can't fold though. So I hit my gutter. He checks. I think I'm mostly supposed to check back. Pretty much this and 6-7 are the only very strong hands I have. And I have them both very infrequently. I guess I could start betting like a middle pocket pair. Yeah, so I think I want to mix this hand, bet sometimes and check sometimes. I might be wrong about that. I might just always have to bet. On the river, I think shoving makes sense. He's already checked twice, so now I probably want to shove like queens and jacks as well. On table one, I opened the small blind, bet a quarter pot on the flop. Going to keep betting half pot. On table two, I 3-bet the big blind against cutoff. I could check sometimes or bet. Going to bet this time. The three of spades is a pretty good card for me to start betting big now. Just the low blank plus bringing the second flush draw. My hand is definitely strong enough to shove. And I don't think I want to be slow playing this ever. I'd rather slow play a full house. Most of his bluffing hands are going to have a jack or a 10 in them. On table one, I'm going to call the ace king sometimes and 4-bet sometimes. Against this small bet, I'm going to call. I might have to raise sometimes. On table two, I'm going to call the small blind with Jack 10 suited. Not calling the small blind very often, but I'm calling a little bit more against smaller opens and against earlier position opens. On table one, I'm going to 3-bet ace 9 suited, small blind against button. I think I'm betting a lot on this flop, but I have a hand that plays pretty well as a check. Basically, this hand type is what my checking range is going to be centered around. And folding to this bet. I'm going to end this video here. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.